Hello everyone, welcome back to Poised with Purpose Co. and welcome to a new episode of the Faith series. If you are new to my channel, Poised with Purpose Co. is a faith-based stationery business and YouTube platform, and I talk about all things vintage, faith-based, style, etiquette, etc. But in this video, I just want to get really real. I have my notebook of notes. If you are familiar with my channel, I usually come here with notes. If you are frequently on my community tab, then you will have seen that I often post these little cards that have scriptures and a quote, and I received these from one of my sisters one Christmas. So, dear Lord, as we rely on you for our security, may we live so we can help others find the security they need. And the verse is Proverbs 1:33, whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely and shall be quiet from fear of evil. Okay, so by the time you're watching this, it should be February 4th. I'm hoping to have this uploaded then, but this is in regards to my 1-year anniversary of getting baptized. I got baptized February 4th of 2024, and the experience was not what I thought it was going to be. I really thought that I was going to have a really great day and a great experience, and that I would just feel renewed and restored in every way, and that I would have a really good support team, but it didn't come out that way, and so I did hold on to some resentment from that day. And so I want to dive into that, but also, most importantly, I want to just discuss the realness of my year without God. And I think that some people might find that odd and weird to even share or post, but I have to be bold, just like the word says, and just talk about it. So, like I said, I was baptized on February 4th of 2024, and I experienced a lot of hurt that day and just church hurt. And so the church that I got baptized at, I haven't been back since I was baptized. And there's a lot of reasons behind that, but I don't want to get into that in this particular video. So I did stop attending that church, and I felt a lot of pressure throughout that year. So when people say that when you get baptized, things don't get easier, they get harder, they were not kidding. I mean, as soon as you dedicate your life to Christ and you decide, I am picking up my cross and I'm going to follow him, the enemy seems to work even harder. In those quotes that you see where it says that, you know, the devil's working really hard, but if he's leaving you alone, you must be doing something wrong. That's also pretty real. But I had gotten baptized, and a lot of things started happening for me in 2024 that I can only thank God for and my support team, because I was really in a place where I felt behind, and I always encourage people to be themselves and encourage and uplift others and all those things, but I have a really bad case and habit of comparing myself and saying that I can't do something, but then God really showed out for me in 2024. I mean, not only did I feel pressure to figure out what I wanted to actually do with my career, since I ended up quitting the film industry, that's a whole nother video, and I ended up quitting and retiring as a model, that is also a whole other video. But I was still trying to figure out what it was I specifically wanted to do. I had been in education for a while and working in libraries, and then felt really pressured to get full-time work. And so I just started praying and applying to a bunch of random schools, and then I finally landed a really special job in August. But let me backtrack for a moment. Many people don't know that I hadn't been driving, and I had finally gotten my license. I was able to get a car, and then I got my dream job, and it was all pretty much back to back. It was like July, August, September. Got my driver's license, got my dream job as a teacher, and then got my car. Back to back blessings that I can only thank the Lord for. I started working 10 hours a day. Now, I don't mean that lightly. I mean, I quite literally had 2 part-time jobs, which I still do, and altogether that meant I was working 10 hours a day, which to some that already work 12 plus hours sounds like nothing, but for someone like me, that's quite a lot in 1 week. And it's 2 different places that are very, very rigorous. And so I just got really, really busy. I started to feel really overwhelmed and tired and sad. And my significant other is in the military, and so he'd been deployed the whole year basically. And so it was just like, when you don't have your person or your best friend right there and available, and you're worried about them overseas, it really does have an effect on you, especially when you don't have that community of people that understand exactly what you're going through. And I stopped engaging in my favorite hobbies and even pursuing my business. I just got so busy. I couldn't even pursue my YouTube channel endeavors that I like to do, creating videos and sharing content. I did end up creating a vlog channel because it just seemed like I needed to separate my content. But even then, I still wasn't creating content on a weekly basis the way that I was able to before. And I really beat myself up about that, but also there wasn't so much I could do. I mean, just tired. I was really tired. And so I just started taking up other hobbies that weren't really healthy for me, is what I'll say. I felt busy and lonely. I didn't have any friends. And I say I don't have any friends, but what I mean is near me in the city where I live, I didn't have any close friends that lived directly near me. And so that really had a huge impact on me because I realized how badly I need community. I need girlfriends that are godly and that will hold me accountable and help me in my walk and vice versa. And I didn't have that. And I really stopped praying. Shocker. I mean, I really did. I would be driving in my car and talking to God out loud, and I would open my Bible that I keep in my car and read it, but I didn't pray at night anymore. I felt like I lost the desire, but also the knowledge on how to do it, and it felt really foreign to me because I've always prayed. I could not go a day without praying, and I started going days without praying at night, and it just didn't feel right at first. But then I got used to it and I got comfortable, and that is just a place you don't want to be in. I stopped reading the word on a daily basis. I get up at 5 in the morning almost every morning to get ready for work, and between that and coming home at 9 o'clock at night, I just could not figure out when to fit in a time to really study the word. And I thought that I was just too busy, but really it was like there were days where I would be scrolling on Pinterest where I could really have been in the Word. You know what I mean? I wasn't prioritizing my relationship with God because I just was filling that void with other things. I started to really feel far from God, and that's not God's fault because I know He's always near. And just like the verse says that if you draw near to God, He will draw near to you. He's always there, but you have to make efforts to get closer to Him, and I wasn't even doing that. I had these desires to find a new church to attend, to go to service, to find girlfriends that are godly and make friends and make community, and to get married, and all these things that I still had the desire of. It was just very unsatisfied. Even though God had blessed me with so many things, I still wasn't happy. And that's why I always emphasize, be careful what you pray for, because God will give it to you. And sometimes that's not even what you think you need. And sometimes He's showing you, okay, this is what you want, but it's not quite what you need. Or this is actually what you need, but is it really what you want? I want to kind of return to the quitting the industries. I grew up in the entertainment industry, and it was always something that I knew I was going to be in. I'm 26 years old now, and I've been competitively dancing and modeling, acting, singing, performing, all of that since about 2.5 years old, 3 years old. And I got to a point where the industry has been getting dark for several years, way beyond me talking about this. I'm not the first to talk about it, but I didn't like how the modeling industry was anymore. And so I decided last year, right after my last fashion show I did, that I was going to retire. And some people find that strange because I'm only 26. Well, now when you're watching this, the next day will be my birthday, so I'll be 27. But when you're in that industry for as long as I'd been in it, and then God starts showing you different things and you don't have a heart for it anymore, you don't have a love for it or a desire to be in it, it's really hard to sit in that space and enjoy it. And so I had ended up retiring from modeling, and I didn't even announce it. I didn't tell too many people. I just was like, this is about my life and the things I'm not going to do anymore, and modeling was just one of them. Felt like I was allowing the world and my circumstances to make me cold. And not to say that I haven't been loving and empathetic to people, but I could feel myself becoming cold, and I didn't want my heart to get cold. And so I think during the holiday season, I started to really notice that about myself and see that, okay, I'm starting to feel really cold in the spirit. And what I mean by that is stone-faced and unhappy, and like the life in my eyes was gone, the light in my eyes was gone. And I was really miserable because there's a lot of things that I've been dealing with in my personal life, but also just the surface level things that I always said I wouldn't love to do or be a part of, I was taking part in. And feeling like once I put a boundary up, I have to be cold. And that's not the case. You can put up a boundary and have your standards, but still be loving to people. And I felt like I was really becoming cold. Another big thing before I get into the positives was reverting back to cursing. I know some of y'all watch this channel and you're like, oh, Drea, you? Yes, me. Oh my gosh. I was always that child that was rebellious, but I would not curse. Like, I was around my friends and I was just like, why would you say that word? Or you must have a really bad vocabulary because you have to fill in what you really want to say with a curse word, until I started cursing. And I don't like how I feel or how I look or how I come off when I'm cursing. First of all, it's not very ladylike, it's not very soft, but overall, it's not biblical. It's not giving Proverbs 31 woman. It's not giving, I'm following the Lord and keeping my lips pure and clean. And that's what the Lord is looking for. And it can be really hard because sometimes it feels like using those filler words, you know, replacing those filler words with a curse word just hits sometimes. But I don't like how I feel, and it's not a good thing. All of that being said, I want to talk about the growth that has occurred within 2024 to 2025 within my spiritual life. And one, my sister put me on to Forrest Frank. I'm sure people are going to have their opinions on him and his music, but at a time when I was really not hearing the gospel, like purposefully not listening to my gospel playlists and purposefully not, or just avoiding listening to the gospel and hymnals and such, I heard some of his songs because I was in the car with her, and I was just thinking, it's more than just the catchy beat or the melody, but it was the lyrics that really hit me. And so I went to his Child of God album and just listened to the whole thing. And now he's become one of my favorite artists, and I'm trying to share his music with other people, and parts of his songs really resonate with me to the point where I believe the desire to get closer to God came back. I started to ache for Christ again, and this happened in January. So it's February now when you're watching this, but it didn't start like at the end of 2024. It started in the beginning of 2025, and the longing to be near him again and the aching returned. And it was an interesting feeling because when you go basically a year without the Lord in your life and you're prioritizing other things, it feels new and it feels scary. And I say that as someone that's been a Christian my whole life, but it was just a different experience. His mercies are really new each day, as long as you're blessed enough to wake up that next day and thank him for that day. And he's just amazing. He's just amazing. And starting to attend a new church. I found one, and by the time you're watching this, I'll have already gone. And I switched journals. This is a whole different journal. I have a million journals. We know I have a stationery business, but I was stuck in one of my journals, which I'm sure you've seen in my other videos. I'm not even done with it, but I couldn't write, and I had stopped journaling for months. And so I thought, okay, maybe I just need to start a new journal and start fresh. And so that's what I did. And this journal I started the day before New Year's Eve is when I started it, and just wanted to start fresh. And now I wake up and I'm ready to write. And as someone that's always been a journaler and a writer, it feels good to come back to that. I opened up my Bible in my car and asked God to help me to desire him and his presence again. It wasn't that I didn't like his presence or just didn't want him to be there or around. It was that I didn't ask, I didn't seek, I didn't find, and I wasn't actually pursuing him. And I would just open the word, and it was like I was reading, but it wasn't getting consumed within me. I was just reading the words. And I've always been a King James Bible reader, and I couldn't even read King James and understand it anymore. And that's how I knew that I had gone so far off from reading the word and seeking his presence that it was a problem. I'm unashamed to say that I'm still pushing through it now, because I know a lot of people in my life always say, you have to wait until you get past that mountain to talk about it, but that's not the case. Like, if you really read some of the people's testimonies in the word, if you look at Job, if you look at Paul, like, these people were writing and talking about the things they were going through while they were going through it. Like, how is it a testimony, and how are you being truthful, real, and bold in Christ if you're presenting yourself in a way that's not even true? And there are other people that could be going through it that can come with you together and go and walk with you at the same time so that you both can come through it together. And God allows people to come into your life so that you can walk with them through that season. And instead of just being like, I can handle it on my own, or being so afraid to trust people, because I come from a family that has trust issues, including myself, that it's like you can let your guard down and ask the Lord if this is somebody that you can trust, and also present yourself as authentic and genuine so that other people know, okay, I'm not alone. I'm going through this too. This is funny because it's not necessarily spiritual, but it's more of a health thing. Started taking iron and my supplements and my allergy medicine a lot more seriously, because sometimes I would just go to bed and be like, oh, I didn't take my Zyrtec or my Flonase. I'll be fine. And I would wake up and I'd be sick the next day. And I don't mean allergy sick or a cold. I mean sick. I've been sick back to back 5 different times. And I got sick of being sick. Okay. I was like, I need to take my medicine. So I started doing that and started drinking healthy smoothies. And I never liked smoothies, but I mean, my skin started to clear up. I started to be able to think more clearly, and my eyes brightened up, and I just felt better. I had more energy. And it's not like I don't eat healthy, but I needed more in my own diet because of my own health. Really understanding my worth and my boundaries and standards, and understanding that just because you set a boundary and a standard, just because you set a boundary or a standard, does not mean that you have to allow yourself to become cold. Don't become cold, or allow your environment, your circumstances, or the people in your life that make you feel a certain way allow you to become cold, allow you to push away the Lord, or allow you to compromise on your beliefs, morals, and standards. I started dance again. If you watched my professional development vlog on the Poised Lady Diaries channel, I'll have it linked below and maybe above if I can. At the school that I teach at, the theater teacher held a session for Professional Development Day for tap dance. And I've talked about this on my channel before. I used to be a competitive dancer. And so I had done the tap session, and it was very emotional for me afterwards, because as somebody that was a competitive dancer and dance was my life for so long, I knew I needed, one, a way to exercise when it's winter, and two, that I needed to go back to my roots and go back to something that didn't have a negative tie to it. Whereas modeling there was no joy in it for me anymore, whereas there's always been such joy in dance for me. So I booked myself a ballet class. It is in February, and I'm going to vlog it. I am extremely excited, and I just did it spontaneously. I am not typically a spontaneous risk taker, but this was something that I've been thinking about for a very long time, that I just needed to do it. I just needed to find a place that would take adults and see if they would let me into a trial class of either beginner or intermediate, because I used to be advanced. I gotta start small, because I haven't danced seriously danced in a dance class, in a serious dance class, in 10 years. I think I stopped when I was 16. I'm excited about that, and I just want to encourage you all to go back to your roots. What were the things in your life when you were younger that really brought you a lot of joy and didn't have a negative impact on you mentally, physically, or spiritually? I really thank you for clicking on this video and taking the time to watch it, and I hope that my points made sense. This was not something that I actually sat down and decided this is the order that I'm going to present this information. I quite literally wrote it in my journal and said this is what I'm going to talk about. I hope that everybody is enjoying the beginning of this new year, and please stay healthy and safe out there. It is really something out there. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.